Welcome back, baseball fans. This special eliminating the Las Vegas expansion team. What we do after a team gets eliminated, we kind of go through the stats and look at who's coming back and then what they have to do in the off season. Just the first look. So these are actually last year's stats for Las Vegas, and they made the playoffs, barely over 500, 21-19. When you look at them, Tommy Davis was a great number 3 hitter in 366. Team batting average 257 is okay. Net runs is what I always look at. 166 they scored. They gave up 142, which is still progress. They've won the division the last 2 years in a division that's awarded to an expansion team. So their method is pitching and fantastic defense. Max Leon came out of nowhere to be an exceptional closer, 10 saves with a 1.13 ERA. Jim Lonborg was an all-star starter with that 72 Milwaukee card, 8-2 with a 2.40 ERA and 120 innings. So a lot went right. So this year, what went wrong? And when we look at this year's stats, the batting average is about the same. Tommy Davis is at the top doing about the same. Greg Gross is hitting 300. Again, you're only getting 8 home runs by this team, 96 RBIs. Johnny Bench, Hank Aaron have more home runs than this team. So they're just not producing enough runs. 105 runs scored, but now they're giving up 150 runs. So they're very fortunate to be 11-20. Max Leon was still doing his thing at the bullpen, but look, he only gets 3 saves because they weren't winning. But the big failures was in the pitching this year. The ERA was 3.08 a year ago, now it's 4.39. That's just not going to work. You can't have bad pitching with no offense. Jim Lonborg just 2-6 with a 4.52 ERA and 134 innings. Woody Fryman did not win a game. Paul Mitchell didn't win a game, and they're your number 3 and 4 starters. That says a lot right there. Ken Brett did similar results in both years. So with that, let's take a look now at Las Vegas's team. And what we do is we put aside the players from 1973 who will have to be evaluated in the off season. That's these guys here. So these cards get removed, and there's some good players here who have at least been with them for a bit with nice, decent production. Okay, we'll do a look at these cards on Baseball Reference at the end. But these are the guys who are coming back. And it is a 50-50 split of hitters and pitchers. You prefer a split of 7 and 5 to give the most balance you can get. 6 and 6 means that they need to retool their pitching staff. Barry Foote is a very fine catcher, -1 arm, full-time power. Nothing wrong there. That would be a good start. Tom Hutton, well, here's the thing. The great defense is there at first, but the sticks, certainly not. The good news is he's got a good 77 card that could kick into. Sandy Alomar holds his own, switch hitting second baseman. And again, the Yankees would bridge Horace Clarke and Willie Randolph around him, so that's why Alomar ends up on an expansion team. This Ken Boswell is simply a left-handed bat who can play some positions. Frankly, you could probably replace him and pick a different player out of the 75. It's here nor there. Benitez had to leave a crowded Boston outfield. This is a decent card with power and an ace stealer. Good arm. And a nice Greg Gross card hitting 300. So everything is here on this Greg Gross card. Defense, base running, C stealer, B hit runner, but great bad handler. What you're not seeing are the home runs. So no home runs at all. And so a major league team does not want him to play every day. But Vegas wants that. And the pitching staff, actually it's the hitting they need. Yeah, they need 6 hitters. They only need 2 pitchers. So scratch the idea of rebuilding your pitching staff. Their pitching staff should be fine. They need to add 6 hitters to this team, and that's good. That's great news because they really need to add hitters anyway. So Jim Lonborg, here's the thing. We had a 72 card. It was awesome. This is the 74 card with the Phillies. Just not as good. and he got knocked around. It's a good card. It's decent. You know, it's a quality pitcher right there. 3.21 ERA, 283 innings. Some years it just doesn't fall, and hopefully he can run us back and have a better year. And that's that. They just have to hope for better luck. Woody Fryman, starter 7. Eventually he'll go to the bullpen, but for now he's decent enough to be a 3 starter. They went out and got Paul Mitchell. There were some slim pickings for a number 4 starter, but Paul Mitchell gives up a lot of homers, but not a lot of base runners. Mitchell was in Baltimore's farm system, and then I think he pitched for Milwaukee. Old New York Met pitcher Danny Frisella, one of I think a half dozen players who passed away before their 30th birthday in this decade, joining Munson, Bostock, Bob Moose, Danny Thompson. Real tragic stories. Don Wilson. 3.12 ERA. Always has this knack of getting lefties out versus righties. This Jim Easterly, or Jamie Easterly, he throws left-handed, so you want that, but the stats just aren't there. Maybe he can get into a better card, maybe not, but at least they have a lefty. And this is the Max Leon that for 2 years has been a dynamite closer, really, all things considered. Statistically, he doesn't look super exceptional. You know, 2.64 ERA. I'm looking at the card and I'm like, okay, that's fine. No homers allowed, but he gives up a lot of singles. Homers there against righties, but not a lot of base runners. So he's got it to work. And that's great news for Vegas. He needs to do it again next year, I guess. So that's Las Vegas. And now, we'll take a look at the 8 guys from 1973 to see who they're going to probably keep, put on waivers, and retire. All right, now we're taking a look at the 8 players to be eliminated first, or kept, waived, and retired. The first one is Mike Anderson, really good defensive outfielder for the Phillies in this decade. He has a great year in 73 with a 772 OPS. Beyond that, we're evaluating 74 through 77. He goes from the Phillies to the Cardinals. He's got a nice year in 76, 291, 728. As long as he plays good defense and he hits better than he's presently hitting, he's certainly a candidate to be kept. So we're going to go to the sheet where we decide to keep, waive, or retire a player. The blue column means you want to keep him. Yellow means you put him on waivers. He still can play, but you don't want him. And red means he's retired or he's not very good anymore. $10,000 or units or tokens for keeping him, $100 for waiving him. He gets $1 and a bus ticket if you retire him. So Mike Anderson, we're going to give him the $10,000 keeper for now, which is good because they need offense and they have a guy in their organization. All right, next up is Ken Berry, who has had a great run of defense in center field. Unmatched, really. He's been a 1E4, 1E0, a 1E1. And only has 2 gold gloves to show for it, but I don't know what he was doing if he got drastically better defensively, or they just got snubbed by, I don't know, Mickey Mantle probably took his gold gloves away, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, here we are in 73, hitting 284. He's got 1 year left, hitting 240. Again, if he's a 1, sure, maybe you want him on your team to be a backup outfielder. He's 33 years old. It doesn't scream a guy you would keep. Maybe you want to be a little bit more ambitious and put him on waivers. This card does exist. If it did not exist, we could go to the roster sheet for verification. But I remember seeing that we have a 74 Ken Berry card. So that could be put on waivers. That possibly could. But for now, let's take a look at Gary's roster page. He's got all the rosters here at superds.tripod.com. And we'll look at the 74 roster sheet as a member Ken Berry of now a Brewer. So So we look for Milwaukee to see if Ken Berry's card was printed, and it's right there. So that's your verification that he does have a card. You have to have a card to be put on waivers because the waiver pool needs to exist. 2 players per team for 64 total cards on waivers. So for now, what we would do is, let's be ambitious. Let's put them on waivers. And if we can't find anybody else for 4 guys we want to keep, then we'll decide to keep Ken Berry. Our next player is Ed Brinkman. Similar scenario. Great defensive player, getting older. And this is the warts, folks. This is the warts of your super expansion teams, Team 31 to 32, Vegas and Portland. They don't have a farm system because the major league teams are holding on to their guys. They literally have to pick up the scraps and the extra players from other organizations, which means year to year, you can find them, particularly if you get a high draft pick. You can find good one-year wonders. You just got to put a bunch of one-year wonders together and try to win in 1 year. Brinkman, they've had, this is the 72 card. Look at that. 9 in MVP votes and this gold glove with the sparkling defense. Made the All-Star game with the card we just used. Played in all 162 games. Probably the highlight, the heyday here for him with these accolades. In 74, he's hitting 221, but look, he's got 14 home runs. 14 home runs is 14 home runs for this team. It's only a 347 slugging, which is odd. Oh, he only has 15 doubles. Huh. Very weird. Oh, yeah. But you still want the 14 homers for a shortstop. So, yeah, this team particularly. So we're keeping Ed Brinkman for 1 more year. Ed Brinkman, $10,000. And he's delighted to come back to Las Vegas. Next up, Tommy Davis, designated hitter, have bat, will travel. What great news it is for Vegas that every Tommy Davis card has produced. So they had the 70, they had the 324. These are the cards they've used for Tommy Davis. This 324 card produced well, and this 306 card, they've all overachieved, hitting around 350, 360 with these cards. That's fantastic. Doesn't have to happen. There have been plenty of 300 hitters that have gone into slumps. I mean, folks, I'll tell you once, I had Wade Boggs hit 240 for me in 1 year. Of course, it was like 130 at-bats, but 240 is 240 when you're a 350 hitter, right? It stinks. Tommy can still hit in 74 and 75. The power is never there. The versatility is not there anymore either. He was much more interesting when he could play second, third, short, the outfield. But he's on the MVP list, 1974, so that means he's probably getting an invitation to come back. This is all good news for Vegas, but not the greatest news for Ken Berry, who looks like he probably will be put on waivers. Next up is Ron Hodges, your left-handed hitting catcher. But unfortunately, this Ron doesn't have power with the card we're vacating. So I don't really know if it was ever really valuable without power. A left-handed hitting catcher with power, and Ron I think has power in some of these years. So here's the 73 card we used, just a 299 slugging. He gets up to a 412 slugging in 75, but I don't know if they print that card because it's just 37 at-bats. 77, solid role player, 265, 325 slugging. This is certainly not glamorous at all, and again, it's in the same boat as Ken Berry. You could probably find this guy in the draft if you don't keep him, or find a guy like that in the draft if you don't keep him. So we're going to put him on waivers. Like I said, if I knew he had some power, I might want to hold on to him, but I'm going to put him on waivers. Now you got Aurelio Rodriguez, and this is all about defense. The original A-Rod, we like to call him. It's all about gold gloves, and the problem with, you're not going to see the gold gloves because Brooks Robinson existed during the same time and stole them from him. But he's got a gold glove in 76. And Hit 8 homers there, hit 13 there. So he's a keeper. So Brinkman and A-Rod will bring their Detroit Tiger defense back to Vegas for another year. It's interesting that Detroit decided that the offense by Brinkman and Aurelio Rodriguez was not good enough for them, so they let them go, replaced them with journeymen like Tom Verizon, Jerry Terrell. They had Clete Boyer at one time. They had Elliot Maddox at third at one time. They have Dave Chalk there now, and it's worked for the Tigers. So there's something to be said about great defensive third baseman and shortstop who can't hit. How much do they help you? But Vegas, this is how you can compete in this particular division, and we've seen them win the division a couple times. Now the two pitchers. Ken Brett. Ken should still have another couple years left. I know he goes from Kansas City to Pittsburgh in here somewhere. So, yeah, Brett was a Philly. He was Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Eventually, he's with Kansas City at the end of his career with his brother. He's on that World Series team with his brother. So he's an all-star in 74 with virtually the same stats he had in 73. Only difference is he can't pitch on 3 days rest. No big deal. And he's a left-handed starter. You got to keep him. So now, this is good news in that they actually have guys they like, and too many of them. That's the fifth. You only have 4. So they're going to be making a deal in the offseason, making a trade. Ken Brett on keepers. And the last guy is Pat Jarvis. Probably not be kept because of the numbers game. And we can end our observation right there. We'll go to the page, but you can see right there he has to be retired. His career is over. So Jarvis pitched from 66 to 73 with the Braves and the Expos at the very end there. This was the final card we used. It was a decent card, a 3.20 ERA. But his career is over. So with that, it instantly puts him on the retirement list. So thank you, Pat Jarvis, for your work in the bullpen for our carryover league, but now he can go into retirement. So now you have 50201. So in the off season, all they have to do is two things. One, they'd like to deal one of these guys and swap it out with a position player. And if they don't have any takers, they're going to have to, unfortunately, put one of these guys on waivers. If there was a sought-after guy that another team might want, Ken Brett, I would dangle him. I think a lot of people want a lefty starter like Ken Brett, who was an all-star. Maybe if you are comfortable with dealing some defense, A-Rod or Brinkman. Tommy Davis is a DH. Mike Anderson is corner outfielder. I don't know how much they'll fetch, but it seems like Ken Brett. You have Woody Fryman. You have a lefty starter that could fit into Ken Brett's spot. He'd be the guy to dangle in a trade if you really wanted to improve your team. And the way you would do that is you put Ken Brett in a trade and you get a retired player back while balancing that transaction with a swap out of position players. For instance, if you don't like Ken Boswell, okay, you dump Ken Boswell on a team from year 75 and you get a really nice 1975 everyday player. And that player sort of balances out Ken Brett. Other candidates you might want to get rid of include, Jamie Easterly, maybe Paul Mitchell, etc. That's how you would balance out a trade when you want to trade one of your keepers. So that's it today for eliminating Las Vegas. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.